Hey, today I'm answering the one question I get all the time, which is, Tom, what do all the very best people do? Hey, welcome to the Tom Ferry Show. I get asked a lot of questions on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram and YouTube, and usually the question looks something like this. Hey, Tom, what's the one thing I have to do to be crazy successful in this business? Well, I can tell you after 35,000 hours of coaching, there isn't one thing. But what I did do is I took some time and I looked at the collective of all the extraordinary men and women I have worked with over the last few decades. And I boiled it down to basically five things. Five things. Call it 5 to thrive. Like, think about it like this. The market's a little bit crazy, right? Things are up, things are down, there's emotion in the marketplace, there's emotion in your business, in your mindset every single day. What can we do every day to take control, not only of our emotional state, but to make sure that we're doing the things that give us the power, which we've talked about so many times. So again, when I reflect on that one question I get, and I look at the broad scope of the thousands and thousands of people I've had the good fortune to work with one-on-one in small groups, they're all doing these five things. So let's go through the list together, and I'd love for you to do this. Check, I do it. Oh, I forgot to do that one. I'm going to add that back into my routine. Does that make sense? So let's look at the obvious one, number one. Every single day, those of us that start our day thinking about the 7, 8, 10 things that we're grateful for. Now, you know this, I know this. My brother Matthew and I, we used to call it the 10-10 visualization, looking at 10 things I'm grateful for and experiencing that moment of gratitude. You know, in sales, it's an emotional state. If you meet someone and your emotional state is that of an energy-sucking, desperate vampire, you are less likely to ever get business from them. They are never going to refer you, and they're going to run, in most cases, from you. So the first thing we have to do is recognize how insanely great our life already is. So maybe you're sitting there and you're going, Tom, I've got no listings and no sales and no pendings. Ah! Okay, remember, you can still stop and say, I'm healthy. I have the opportunities in front of me. I've got a family that I love. I've got people that I enjoy spending time with. Find those 3, 4, 5 things that you're really grateful for and lock in that emotional state. The second part of that, the other 10, is to look at what are the 10 most important goals you're fixated on every single day. Now, I know when I say that, gratitude and goals, the vast majority, maybe you, maybe the person to your right or left watching this with you, you're not doing that right now. And here's what I know. Everybody is telling me, Tom, how do I improve my mental toughness? How do I get myself emotionally right? I'm afraid to make my phone calls. My response is, if you're not doing the inner work every day to make sure that you're grateful for what is already happening in your life and committed to achieving these goals, if you're not doing that, the rest of the show doesn't matter. Turn this off. Okay, let's go to number 2. Number 2 is you do a little planning session. Now, I know you're like, Tom, I plan, man. I get my yellow notepad out, or I go into Evernote and I list out all the things I have to do today. Well, let me tell you, no rock star agent does that. No rock star agent says, what are all the things I have to do today? That, my friend, that's the wrong question. You always ask the better question, which is, what are the specific, measurable results I want to produce today? Now, you and I both know, ask yourself a great question, you're going to get some great answers. But if I say to you, what are all the things you have to do today? You could create a laundry list of activities that aren't dollar productive, that are not about generating opportunities, that aren't about serving clients, but they are going to make you feel productive when you cross off all those things you had to do. Think about it like this. If I said to you, what are the most important results you want to produce after watching this show? You might say, I want to secure the listing at 1234 Banana Street, and I want to get it at $497,000, and I want a 6% commission. Now, you write that down as an outcome versus I got to follow up on that seller, right? Big difference in the way your mind is going to look at it and act on it. You might write down, I want to schedule one appointment after completing my 554s today, one listing appointment, one buyer appointment. The more specific you get about the results you want to produce, then guess what happens? All that drama, that minutia, that clutter that's happening around us, that's distracting us all the time, suddenly you're like, hey, wait a minute. I just got to get 3 things done today. And when you keep it simple like that, my friends, the very best agents will tell you, they're not focusing on 60 things. I got to launch this listing today. I got to get my email marketing piece out and ideally get a 30% open rate today. And I want to secure blank listing at this price. They keep it really simple, and that allows them to laser focus. Number 3, obviously we've talked about this one a bunch, but it is so important. Every day you spend 5 to 10 minutes and you look at what's happening in your market. Some people call it the hot sheets, some people call them the dailies, but you know what I'm saying. Every day you spend a little time inside the MLS or whatever to know what are the new listings, what's just sold, what's pending, what are the prices, what trends are hot, what trends are not, what prices are hot, what prices are not. And by doing that, you become the knowledge broker. See, I get to talk. Yesterday, I talked to one of the best agents on the planet. A couple of weeks ago, I was in Australia, and I talked to the #1 agent in all of Australia. I asked him, tell me about your morning routine. He's like, well, I get my mindset right, and I kind of get myself going, you know, like mentally. Oh, you mean like gratitude and focus on your goals? He's like, I really think about what do I have to achieve that day, his results, and then he said, and then I look at what's going on inside the market, because everybody's asking me every day, how's the market? See, it's one thing to be able to say, hey, you know, it depends. You're looking to buy, sell, invest, or rent, which is a script I've taught you for years. That is important. When they want to go deeper, it's really good to say, well, you know, last month we had 267 transactions go under contract, and of those, the median sales price was X. But what I'm seeing is a little slowdown in the higher end, anything north of X price. But there are properties that are selling, but what's happening is they're the ones that are coming on the market, priced perfectly, they're beautiful, and they sell really fast where everything else is sitting. See, now all of a sudden, the consumer goes, this gal's got it going on. She knows the market inside and out. That's the type of person I want to work with. That's the type of person I'm going to refer. Does that make sense? So those first 3, to me, these are non-negotiable. This is what the very best people do. Now, let's go to number 4. This is a big one. Do you role play? Remember a couple weeks ago we had the new agents, right? Jeremy and Ann, and they both said it. Look, at the end of the day, you're either role-playing and practicing with a peer, with your friend, or with your puppy, or, heaven forbid, you're practicing on your client. I just saw my buddy this morning, Christopher Duma. Big shout out to Chris. I really hope that this guy wins a Nobel Peace Prize. Just go with me on this. He's one of the leading gamma knife brain surgeons on the planet. Extraordinary human being. Do you think he practiced that a few times before they said, all right, Chris, you just graduated, brain surgery? I hope not. And yet you say, well, Tom, that's a silly metaphor. I'm just selling houses. Wait a minute. You're helping people with the biggest investment of their life. And in many cases, you don't know how to handle the most basic objections. You don't know how to qualify in a way to discover what's their real motive to act and who's involved in it and what happens if they do and what happens if they don't. See, some of this common sense selling stuff, the vast majority of people have never really mastered. And the only way you do it, my friend, is through practice. So whether you're thinking about sports or you're thinking about an attorney or an airline pilot or a doctor, they all practice a ton and they get paid in direct correlation to their skills and execution. Think about that for you. So could you practice 5 or 10 minutes a day, right? Could you look at some of the products that we produced or other people that have produced, or just grab anybody's scripts? My scripts, I don't care who you grab. Just use something and get the words out of the way, because we all know the old study, 7% of your total communication are the words that you use. 7%. 38% is the tonality or how those words sound. So if I say Richard, it's different from Richard. Same exact word, but the tone creates a different listening, an interpretation of those words. And then, of course, the last one is 55% is the way you move your body. So if I look at you and say, like, have you had any thoughts of selling? It's better than, have you had any thoughts of selling? And the vast majority of people don't know what they're doing in the moment because they don't practice. So that's number 4, right? That's a game changer. And then obviously number 5, truth be told, if I could wave a magic wand, like when I look at the most successful people, and I can't tell you the name of this agent, she's on pace to do $3.5 million this year, and she would be embarrassed that I told this story. But I have been working with this woman for nearly 20 years, and she said to me in a coaching session, you're not going to believe this, I'm doing my 554. wait a minute, tell me what's going on. She always does the first 5, which is, call my past clients, call my sphere, right? And it's, it's like 45 to 50% of the transactions that they do are people that they know, people that have referred to them, etc. Good word of mouth advertising. She said, but I'm making calls for my buyers because there's no inventory. They told me where they want to live. She said, I have to tell you, it's actually very easy. Hi, I'm just calling for a buyer and I'm just curious if you had any thoughts of selling. She goes, I'm having so much fun and I've already got 2 leads from it. What makes the best agents great? They are willing to get on the phone every day and talk to X number of people inside their database, keeping them informed, keeping them empowered, use the forward script, go on Facebook, wish them happy birthday. At the end of the day, there is a $15 to $16 billion ad spend happening every single year trying to get your database to go to somebody else's website, click on it, and they sell that lead to somebody else. It's happening to your customer base every single day. You got to be in communication. So whatever that number is, 4, 5, 8, every day inside your database, the equal number of people that are new, right? Following up on open house leads, Zillow leads, I don't care who leads. There's no wrong way to do it, but you got to be talking to new people every day. And then the last one is your lead follow-up. Because at the end of the day, if you don't follow up, you're done, right? It's all the money, as they say. All the money is in your follow-up. All the money. So the 5th one, right, that non-negotiable, is making your calls, doing your follow-up every single day. So stop just for a second. And if I say, just go through those 5, okay, my 10-10s, right? Do I take the time to create that feeling of gratitude because I know how I feel on the inside radiates the people on my outside, and I can't be an energy-sucking vampire. Nobody's going to want to work with me. And then what am I committed to? What's that law of attraction, right, that I want to say, these are the 10 goals. This is what I want to do. This is what I want to experience. These are the results I want to produce, right? Doing that every day and locking it in on what it is that you want and feeling great. And then number 2, obviously taking the time to just get clear on what results you want to produce, not your list of things to do. Don't do that. What results? Number 3, looking at the daily activity in your marketplace, being the knowledge broker. Number 4, role playing for just 5 or 10 or 15 minutes and just improving your skills, your ability to communicate and message and win and help people. You with me on this? And then the last one, making your calls. If I asked you, of those 5, what are you missing right now? And then what's the impact of you missing that? I mean, think about it. If you do 2 through 5, that's great. But if your mindset stinks and your energy is off, you can make all the calls in the world, and more than often than not, people are going to say no to you just because of the energy that you're putting out. You got to do all 5. So I challenge you. Like, if this was the last Tom Ferry show ever, it's not. Just for the record, for my team here. But if it was the last Tom Ferry show ever, and you were just going to finish by saying, you know what, Tom, I'm going to do those 5, and I'm going to do it for 12 straight months, however many days that is, 250, 300, 365. Here's what I know. Your business would be unrecognizable in 12 months. In 3 or 4 months, you'd have so much activity going on that it would be hard for you to keep it going. But then I'd challenge you to say, remember, what makes the extraordinary extraordinary is they do the ordinary every single day, even on the days they don't feel like it, and especially on the days where they've got lots of appointments and lots of deals to negotiate because they want to keep that pipeline full. So I challenge you. What are you going to do? Leave some comments below. Share this with a couple friends. Create an accountability around 5 to thrive. 5 to thrive. You and your buddies hold each other accountable, and let's make this year extraordinary by doing the things that give you the power. Thanks so much for watching. Remember always, your strategy matters, and now more than ever, 5 to thrive. That's what rules. Hey, it's Coach Tom Ferry. Have you been considering hiring a coach? If so, click the link below and check out what we do.